Hey everybody, I'm Jonathan Kenny and welcome back to the Toraguchi Way. We have very special guest today. I don't even know what to say about this guest, so stick around. We have Sensei Michelle Enfield. All right, check it out. Okay everybody, like I said, I'm super excited. I have Sensei Michelle Enfield, the one and only, the infamous, the famous. Thank you for being here. I know that somebody commented about women in martial arts, and I lack certain anatomy to help to the extent that an expert like Sensei Michelle could, so I asked her to be a guest appearance on the Toraguchi Way to help us with some tips regarding not just Sanchin, but even just training in general, and even some application-based stuff coming from a woman's perspective. So thank you for being here. Right. So how long have you yourself been training?
Oh yeah, Jonathan, I've been training a while, and one of the highlights of my training came at an unexpected time. I became an advocate against domestic violence and sexual assault for the state of California. And when I did that, I came up with this unique program that I called Get Your Black Belt On, and I would go to the hiding houses and I would teach self-defense there to the women. So it kind of took a different spin, my karate training.
So for you, karate was never just about karate, but was always more about self-empowerment and self-protection than it was just about protecting yourself with your hands.
Yep, it's about many things, and I think all of us that have trained a while, we know that we grow with the art if we stick with it, and when we hold ourselves to a high standard, that starts evolving in many different ways, just as I'm sure yours has over the past few years, right? Yeah.
All right, so do you have any specific tips or tricks, just to kind of keep it, to simplify as much as we can, any tips or tricks for women to help them improve their martial arts as they train from class to class?
Okay, so here is the ultimate tip. This is the secret that the masters have been keeping forever and ever and ever. Just don't stop training. Keep training. Keep at it. Yeah, right? No big tricks there. But I think to address the question that one of your women asked, which is a really good question, is we have different anatomy than men. So if you're doing things like throws, and of course we do Sanchin and Goju, our chest can get in the way sometimes. And what I have found is I was being corrected often, like, get your elbows in the right place, do that, but because it's largely, and I think you might agree with this, dominated by men in our art, right? So there hasn't been a lot of attention given to that, and then it's awkward, just like you said, for men to be teaching about this kind of thing. And so it's important to be sensitive. If you teach children and youth, the growing and developing body of a young woman is extremely sensitive up here. So draw attention to that and try to pair people up accordingly. The second thing is when you're trying to get those elbows in and tight, as long as your structure is strong, like we talk about in Sanchin, I'm keeping my whole structure, I'm keeping my chin tucked in, so I'm in alignment here, and I want that structure in that base, okay? So whatever that looks like up here, you do the best you can to bring everything down and in toward the middle. And I'm slightly pulling the hip under, but I can't, not like this. Can you do the hyper hip thing? Yeah. I don't want to do it so much now that I have a hyper curve back there, okay? So, Sensei Paul, can you help us out for a minute?
So, do you mind if I jump in?
Go for it.
So there's also, for the women out there that train, what responsibility do they have when talking with a male instructor, or receiving instruction from a male instructor, when the male instructor simply says, elbows in, do this, do that? What type of responsibility do women have to speak out or protect themselves from that type of awkward or uncomfortable situation from a male that doesn't know how to help them the way that they need to be helped?
Right, and so I think the responsibility, as you put it, lies on both sides. Right, so it's an awareness of the male that might be in the room, or the man who's in the room, the sensei, and also myself. So if my sensei is going to touch me in a way that makes me uncomfortable, or which I was going to demonstrate in a minute, but it's okay for us to say that's not working for me, and you don't have to say it during class, like, hey, I've got these giant breasts, I can't do that. Stop telling me to do that. No, it doesn't have to get to that level. It's just like, okay, memo to me. I need to talk to him about this. Go inside and say, look, I know this is kind of awkward, but because of the way my body is shaped, that's not a possibility for me, and I'm just hoping that, you could teach me ways around that, or whatever it is. Whatever works for them, but there needs to be an acknowledgement that our bodies are different.
And if somebody runs into an instructor that refuses to acknowledge that, are we looking at a situation where we should find another school or another instructor, or is there any sort of problem solving that can occur?
Yeah, I mean, if your instructor or your sensei is not open to receiving your input, then yeah, that's something that you need to think about. And if you're willing to stay in that situation, then that's great. But if not, you got to decide for yourself, right? Because
Okay.
I mean, and also I think it's important to be culturally sensitive. So if we're in Okinawa or Japan and talking about that is going to be really uncomfortable, right? So here in Canada, most likely, I know definitely in America, there's more of an exchange of ideas. I mean, there's still that sort of hierarchy, but as far as body safety and structure, hopefully you're working with a person in your life who's going to be receptive to that.
Okay, thank you. So you also wanted to demonstrate with Sensei Paul some of the things that you were talking about.
Yeah, right, thank you. Sanchin kata, I don't know, not everyone does it, many styles do it, but the important thing in Sanchin kata is to keep that structure, and we do a thing called Sheme. When we do Sheme, it's not to see what a tough guy someone is, right, and to hurt them. The idea is to test my structure. So the way that we start, Sensei Paul, if you would. So the way that we start is from the ground up, right? So we're going to check the foundation for the ground up. And before anybody starts doing Sheme on another individual, it's very important that you say, and you'll see us saying this all the time at seminar, is it okay if I touch you, okay? So that's how we're going to start. I'm going to be touching your feet. Is it okay if I touch you? This is what I'm going to do. We've already got that understanding. So again, Sanchin, we're developing the breath, we're developing the structure. We're just going to do a quick bit on how it starts. Just go ahead, go full. We'll just do it one time, okay? And the way that we're going to do Sheme today is years of training, all right, and working up to it slowly. Sensei Paul, I didn't come in as a white belt and he came in and started smashing me, kicking me, and doing all this stuff. It came very slowly, right, so that the student feels comfortable and confident and they feel respected, okay? I'm going to do another one so you can do the kick. All right, so that's many years of training. If I feel, and I can feel a looseness if I'm off somewhere, right? If there's if I have a compromised place in my body, I'll feel my knee go out or my elbow go out or something. But the way that we talk about this structure, just a quick application, when we're doing these kind of things, partner punches. I do something like this from Shisochin. Here, he blocks. I come around, 1, 2, 3. I keep my structure here. I'm turning him laterally. This is that Sanchin structure. Simple, right? So in fast motion, he does his punch. And at the end, I'm focusing that structure. The other one that is kind of easy to see, if I want to go in and do a knee strike. So I don't want to do something like this, where I'm coming up and I'm going it, because now I've just lost my structure and I'm getting taken down, right? So when I come in for this technique, I'm going to keep my structure here. 1, 2, 3. He tries to come in, I have that structure. Here. about Sanchin and we're talking about Sheme, and it's come to my attention that there are dojos out there that will only do Sheme on men, and there's no reason for that. There's no excuse. My ovaries don't prevent Sheme. If that's an issue, I don't know where this comes from. It's probably just old school patriarchal thinking. So please, please, please make sure that you are getting equal training when you go out there, because there's no reason, unless I have a physical impairment. Okay, there's sometimes when your body's not going to be able to take, you're sick, you're super stressed out, Sheme is not a good idea. But it's always done in a progressive format, okay? So I encourage anyone that has questions, please put them on the website or this thread, and I appreciate the opportunity, Sensei Jonathan, to work with you.
Well, thank you. So just at the end, just to finish up, I want to say thank you very much, but I want to bring attention to something that you said during the video. When she was doing Sanchin during the Sheme, it looked really impressive, right? And something that she said is this was something that was nurtured for years through a system of respect. She has always felt nurtured and respected, so she has a trust with Sensei Paul, right, that she can be comfortable and she can be tested, right, with that regard. This is not something that you may look like right away. This is something that, as long as you feel safe and respected, right, it is something that you can develop too. Am I correct in that assessment?
Yeah, and I think you know, the culture of your dojo is important, and so mutual respect, but also making sure you have a voice. When I first started karate, there was a gentleman in there who, when we would do a sparring drill, every single time he pushed me right in the breast. And not knowing the dojo culture, I said, and I think he was a black belt and I was a white belt, but I don't ever want to be touched that way.
Yeah.
And so I said, do not touch me, and then do not hit me in the breast one more time. And he was like gobsmacked. He had no idea he was doing that, right? So it's not always ignorance, but it is, I think, awareness. Okay, and if I was a student of Sensei Jonathan, and he was, you know, touch me inappropriately, I wouldn't be like, don't ever touch me like that again! I would just say like, whoa, we need to talk about this. But I always have that right. I have agency and sovereignty over my own body, no matter where you are. Okay, so I can say stop at any time. And just make sure you voice that.
You have a choice, you have a voice, exercise it. Thank you very much.